inshallah, the companion. Or before we start with the companion, subhanAllah, one of the, just since this, the last salah in Ramadan, we're still in Ramadan, of course, in Maghrib. Just think about this. I'm going to say it in Arabic and in English, inshallah. That's the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I mean, the one of the tabi'een or tabi'in, the generation, third generation of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. كان رجل يحج كل عام. فكان يدعو هذا الدعاء يقول اللهم لا تجعل هذا آخر عهدي لي في البيت. A man from the tabi'in, I believe, he used to make this dua every time, every year he makes hajj. He said, oh Allah, don't make this my last time in hajj. قال فحج أكثر من 70 مرة. So he made about 70 hajj. آخر حج قال استحييت من الله. The last hajj he said, I became shy. So he did not make this dua. فلم يدعو فمات. Then subhanAllah, he didn't make the dua, then he died. So make this dua, اللهم لا تجعل هذا آخر عهد لنا في رمضان. Allah, don't make this last Ramadan for us. Because Ramadan, as you know, is a beyond golden opportunity from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shows part one, probably Allah knows best, branch of the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He gives us the opportunity to be alive in such a beautiful month. Okay, today inshallah we're going to talk about one of the greatest Sahaba. One of the Sahaba, he was given the glad tidings of Jannah among the 10. And he was number 8 in embracing Islam. 2 days after Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he became Muslim. The one who invited him to Islam was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He was also one of the 6 was chosen by Umar to choose the Khalifa from, as was the first Khalifa, Abu Bakr. When Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Muru Abu Bakr falyusalli bin-nas, he said, command Abu Bakr to lead the Salah. So he's the Khalifa. Then Abu Bakr said, ask Umar to lead the Salah. So they know this is his wish. So Umar became the Khalifa. Then Umar, he looked around, he had more than one option. So he have chose 6 to choose the Khalifa from the 6 beside his son. So his son was only a board member basically, but he would not be able to be Khalifa. He didn't want to be another Khalifa from his family. So he chose the 5 out of the 6. He was one of those people, subhanAllah, and he was really tortured when he became Muslim, since he was one of the first people who embraced Islam, but really became more steadfast in the deen throughout the difficulties and hardship he had to go through in Mecca. And then he migrated to the Abyssinia, to Al-Habasha, and then subhanAllah was one of the first people who migrated to Medina when the command for Rasulullah came, said we should move out of Mecca, subhanAllah. And the beautiful story, famous story, when Rasulullah said, he said, made the ikha, meaning the brotherhood in Medina, between the immigrants, the muhajirin, and the local people of Medina, which is Al-Ansar. And subhanAllah, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, his choice, or the choice came to be the brother of Sa'd ibn Rabi'a. Sa'd ibn Rabi'a was the richest guy in the Medina. The richest guy in the Medina. And this brotherhood in Islam never, ever exists something similar to this or close to this. You know, we have refugees, they come here. We have people come from overseas. We have poor family. We give them $100, $200, $500, $5,000. But there's nothing like this. Sa'd ibn Rabi', he said, as you know, oh brother, and the rule, he said, I'm the richest guy in Medina. I give you 50% of my wealth. He said, I married 2 women. I divorced one. When the iddah is over, you can marry her. My wealth, take the 50% you like. No one ever does that. No one gonna do this either. That's why this is the best generation, subhanAllah. So, and look how generous the kind of people, the one who were chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be surrounded by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Abdurrahman, look how honorable he was. Look how generous Sa'd, but look, any of us, you get the opportunity with such amount of money out of their hearts, willingly. SubhanAllah, Abdurrahman, he said, made dua, he said, Barakallahu laka fi ahlikum al-malik. May Allah increase you and bless you in your wealth and your family. Right away. He did not want to take anything. He says, tell me, I want to work. Where's the marketplace? Let me find a job. He said, okay. He told him, where is it? Right away. He started dealing, wheeling, selling, buying immediately, subhanAllah. Within a short period of time, he came, had nice garment, And he knows the Sahaba left Medina, they have nothing. Nothing, barely their clothes, the one they have on. So he came to Medina, and Rasulullah saw him, nice garment, having some cologne, expensive cologne. Said, Ma sha Allah, basically. Said, Mahim, Mahim. He said, Ma sha, when you see someone, said, wow, Ma sha Allah, basically. What is this, Abdurrahman? He said, well, I worked. He said, I got married. He said, I got married. He said, you got married? He didn't have $1 yesterday. I mean, a few days ago. He said, I got married. He said, did you give dowry? He said, of course. He said, I gave like some amount of gold for the lady, for my wife. I said, SubhanAllah. So Rasulullah said, did you slaughter? Did you make walima? He said, no. He said, well, awlim walau bisha, at least slaughter one sheep. So this one of them became like kind of sunnah, at least to slaughter sheep, but doesn't have to, definitely, because some Sahaba, they did not do this. And then he said, Barakallahu laka fi malik. Look at the beautiful dua. He said, may Allah increase you in your wealth. May Allah put the barakah. Imagine Rasulullah said the dua, the most sincere person ever. And subhanAllah, he said, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said, then the dunya came to me running. He said, Wallahi, I had faith, or I have faith. If I'm walking, I see a stone or rock, if I flip the rock, I'm expecting there's a gold or silver beneath it. That much money he was making. Whatever he does, he makes money. So that to that point, he said, in my mind, if I see a rock, if I'm lifting the rock up, I'm going to find gold or silver beneath it. That much, subhanAllah. And the Battle of Badr, subhanAllah, he did, and besides being rich and so on, they were brave. So Abdurrahman, he was one of the bravest guys, subhanAllah, there. He said he killed one of the worst guys from the kuffar in the Battle of Badr. And Uhud, as you know, the Muslimin, it was like chaos in that battle. The beginning, they won the battle, and they missed one sunnah, not to leave the mount, subhanAllah. Then the Muslimin, they were shattered all over the place. So then only few, they were around Rasulullah. Abdurrahman was one of them. The one who was protected Rasulullah. They found like about 20 wounds in his 20, he was injured like 20 spots in his body. Said one of them so deep, said you could put your hand inside of it. SubhanAllah. And this is the way he strived with Rasulullah when it comes to that category. So he said, SubhanAllah, but when it comes to money wise, he said this become way bigger. Imagine 20 spot was injured in his body, 20 wounded, subhanAllah, and subhanAllah, this is nothing in comparison to the amount of money he used to give, radiyallahu anhu. He said, subhanAllah, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he needed some money to send like a group of people for a battle or something, but they didn't have any money. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, tasaddaqu, give some charity. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I have at home 4,000 dinar. This is a huge amount of number, huge number, subhanAllah. I have 4,000 dinar. He said, I have 2,000 goodly loan for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and 2,000 for my family. So Rasulullah said, may Allah increase, give you like many fold of hasanat for what you have given, and may Allah put the barakah for the one who you left behind for your family, subhanAllah. And now the battle of Tabuk, which is the usra, the time of difficulties. They didn't have anything at the time. Now, Rasulullah, as the last battle he had done in his life, and they are in need for money, as we have mentioned yesterday or the day before, subhanAllah. And because now you fight in the Roman, it's not like an Arab tribe, 200 people. That's the Roman. That's the biggest or the biggest empire at that time, and they have everything. During that year, subhanAllah, was a drought in Medina. The entire they didn't have anything. So they need everything. People used to come, as we said yesterday, they want to participate, and he said, subhanAllah, they don't have money. They don't have even money for a sword. We are willing to go, but all of them want sword or horse. He didn't have that. But they didn't have this. So they went back crying out of sadness because they could not participate, subhanAllah. So Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, okay, for the sisters downstairs, if you can leave, the brothers are going to move the trash by downstairs. If you can move, sisters, so the brothers can go downstairs and move the stuff from the basement. Jazakumullah khair. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had commanded the Sahaba to give. He asked the Sahaba, whatever you can, subhanAllah. And on top of those givers or donors was Abdurrahman Auf. He have donated 200 uqiyah of gold. 200 uqiyah of gold. The uqiyah, roughly, they said Islamic uqiyah. Our uqiyah now is 200 grams, but we're not that. Uqiyah equivalent about to 29 grams of gold. So 200, that's about 6 kilo, about 14, 15 pounds of gold. He have donated for this army, subhanAllah. And then he said, Rasulullah felt, this is a lot of money. He asked him, what did you leave for your family? He said, oh, much better, more delicious than this. So what did you leave? Rasulullah said, well, I left what Allah have promised them and the Prophet ﷺ have promised, which is much better in the dunya and the hereafter. The provision from Allah and the dunya and the reward in the hereafter, subhanAllah. Then the army, subhanAllah, went there, kept on going to Tabuk, and he was one of them, Abdurrahman ibn Auf. And one time Rasulullah was very late for Salah. So the Sahaba decide to make Salah. So he started the Salah, Allahu Akbar, first rak'ah is over, then Rasulullah was there. So he led the Salah in the life of Rasulullah, he was the Imam. This one, another honor for Abdurrahman Auf radiallahu anhu warda, to lead the Salah in the present of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam passed away, Abdurrahman Auf was like taking care of all the mothers of the believers, all Ummahat al-Mu'mineen. They want to travel, he prepared their caravan. They want to go to Hajj, he's the one who's in charge. They want to do something, he's in charge. They need some money, that he was given the money. Whatever, subhanAllah, whatever you want, whatever they want, subhanAllah. And he was, subhanAllah, imagine how kind he was to the mothers of the believers. He said, one time he sold the land for 40,000 dinar. Huge amount, subhanAllah. He gave it all to Bani Zuhra. Bani Zuhra, the family of the Prophet ﷺ's mother. They all became Muslim, of course. His mother was not Muslim, and she died before he was 6 years old. So he gave all the poor people from Bani Zuhra and the poor from Muhajirin and Ansar, subhanAllah. Then he did not forget Aisha. He gave Aisha her share, subhanAllah. He said, who sent this money? They said, Abdurrahman Auf. He said, subhanAllah, only the patient ones, the sabirun, will be kind to you, will have mercy upon you, all the people with this character of patience. So the dua of Rasulullah definitely was answered to when it comes to Abdurrahman Auf, and he started basically the biggest one, important and exporting from Medina and outside the Medina. Bring everything they need, food, wheat, everything, just flour, olive oil, clothes, silverware, everything was through Abdurrahman Auf. He was the biggest merchant, the biggest guy, or the richest guy there in Medina. And one time, subhanAllah, they were sitting in Medina, the masjid, they heard like the earth was shaking. Something wrong. So they were asking, what is it? He said, this is the caravan for Abdurrahman Auf. He has 700, like nowadays, like 700 containers, if you want to put it this way. 700s. So when they were all coming together like a caravan, subhanAllah, the houses, they were shaken because of the amount of the horses and manpower and so on. SubhanAllah, they were all there, and SubhanAllah was like loaded with everything. So Aisha also, she heard that, said, what is that? He said, well, there's 700 like caravans, 700 containers filled with the flowers, with the wheat, with food, and this is for Abdurrahman Auf. He said, subhanAllah, may Allah increase him for what Allah have gave him, but the reward for the hereafter, much better, much greater. Listen to this, subhanAllah. The reward for the hereafter, much greater. So he have heard that Aisha said that. He said like, it's good, mashallah, may Allah put the barakah, but the hereafter much better than this. He ran to Aisha, said, oh mother. Said, oh mother, because they used to call him mother. So subhanAllah, you are my witness. I'm giving each single one of those. Not only the stuff in it, including the horses including the containers, for the sake of Allah. SubhanAllah. So the dua of Rasulullah kept on going. The thing is, he spent here, get it back there more, 10 times more, subhanAllah. He spent secretly, Allah gave him openly. He gave openly, Allah gave him secretly. Non-stop, subhanAllah. And one time, subhanAllah, he gave donation 40,000 golden dinar and 40,000 silver dinar. And he gave another 200 uqiyya of gold, which is about 15 pounds of gold, subhanAllah. All this in one day. One time the Muslims, they sent an army for a battle. He prepared 500 horses. Then there was not enough. He prepared another 1,500 horses. Was Abdurrahman, subhanAllah. When he died, when he approached that, when he was about to die, he freed all the workers or the servant, they were working with him, subhanAllah. And he gave each one, he said, from the people who participated in Badr, 400 golden dinar. And there were 100 people alive from the one who had participated in Badr. This 40,000 dinar, golden dinar, for the people who have participated in the battle of Badr, subhanAllah. And he gave each one from Ummahat al-Mu'mineen something special as a gift, part of his heritage, subhanAllah. And Aisha made dua, said, may Allah make him drink from the salsabil, which is like a water fountain in Jannah. And he left behind so much. Still, with all what he gives, there's a lot more, subhanAllah. He said that he had left behind 1,000 camels, 100 horses, 3,000 probably sheep or goats. And his women, he had 4 wives. Said each one of them, her share was 80,000. His wife, that's their share. So all of them. So I mean the 4 they get 1/8, as you know, and 7/8 for the rest. 1/8, that's mean 80 times 4. How much? 320,000, subhanAllah, of gold, subhanAllah. And he said he left behind so much gold and silver. When they want to divide it, they have like the axe. They were chopping this with the axe, the gold, that much gold. All this because of the dua of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But with all this money and all with the wealth he had, did not change him a bit. SubhanAllah, nothing. Just he was the same way he was. Radiallahu anhu, lived. You cannot even distinguish between him and his worker. You cannot tell who's Abdurrahman now. Imagine someone has this money nowadays. You cannot tell he's the worker or the boss. One time he was fasting, optional siyam. So they brought food for him. He looked at the food, subhanAllah. And he said, Wallahi, Mus'ab was killed in the battle of Uhud. And he's better than me, Mus'ab. Of course, this out of humbleness, subhanAllah. Probably they're the same. So, subhanAllah, and we couldn't find a kafan for him to cover him. When we cover his head, shows his leg. When we cover his leg, shows his head. That much of poverty we used to have, subhanAllah. Then, but Allah gave us the dunya now, subhanAllah. I'm afraid I got my reward in the dunya. They start crying and crying and crying until he said, I don't want to eat. And he's fasting. Radiallahu anhu, subhanAllah. Then, when he died, the one who took care of the burial was Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, which was given the glad of Jannah. And the one who led the salah upon him was Uthman ibn Affan, the Nurayn, the Khalifa, and was given the glad of Jannah. And the one who was with the janazah, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, as one of the people, subhanAllah. And he said, he used to tell him, go ahead, may Allah be with you, subhanAllah. You left nothing but good, and inshallah, you have sent forth way ahead of you something much, much better. You will get, in the Jannah, inshallah. This is the story of Abdurrahman ibn Auf, radiallahu anhu Allah. Inshallah, we take a break 2 minutes. We can do the summary. We can do the summary of the salah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a quick thing. Then we do it physically, inshallah. Then we do the wudu. I have 3